live here at the station of decapitation without your head. I'm Nasty Neil, and I'm joined by Colin Krawchuk, director of The Jester.
Hello.
Hello. So it's very cool. Jester has a limited release tomorrow,
That's right.
theatrically. I got to see it on the small screen, but there's no better way to see a movie, especially a horror movie, on the big screen with an audience.
Yes, I just watched it on the big screen last night, actually. We had a little Orlando premiere for friends and family, and that was a lot of fun. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, so what's that? What was that? I know that's with friends and family, so it'll be different with people who you don't know. But what was that experience like?
I mean, it's probably the best reviews that you're going to get for a movie that you made is your mom and dad come up to you afterwards and they say, "Great job." So
Yeah.
it was all very positive and very heartwarming. So good way to start the release of this movie, I think.
Yeah. And for people who don't know, it's an interesting, background how the movie became a feature. You had short film, and then sequels, and then now the feature. If you'd like to give people like the quick story there.
Yeah, the quick story is we were making horror short films kind of every year around October and wanted the gesture to be different from anything we had made prior to that. We made it. It was a short film that we liked, but it ended up becoming like gaining a lot more traction than we could have ever anticipated. And then I think we like roped ourselves into Jester Mania by just making a sequel the next year, and then that was all anybody ever wanted to see from us. So yeah, it's a blessing and a curse.
I watched because if people don't know the Jester, the short is all three, I believe, are all on your YouTube.
Yep.
And so I read that it made the first was made for $500, and it looks great. I'm not just saying that because you're here; it looks awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. And so you said everyone wanted more of these. So at the time, did you ever think eventually I would like to make this into a feature? Or when did the idea come around? Like, let's actually make this a feature film.
Well, it was difficult to not talk about it because it was so many people said it. We'd love to see this like as a Netflix thing or whatever. Just people in the comments, and we would ask each other that like, what would a Jester feature be like? But we would always end with, it would never work. Like you could never make a whole feature based on the Jester. It just, what would it even be about? Unless it's a kind of an anthology thing similar to Trick or Treat, but Trick or Treat already exists. So why would we want to do that? And then the right person saw the Jester and asked, "Do you want to make this a feature?" And when you get that phone call, you say, "Yes, I do." So so it was a challenge. I said I want to take a shot at writing it myself, and having never written a feature before. And Mike and I came up with the story, the original story that we came up with. We had 2 weeks to write a treatment, and we spent the first 7 days coming up with a more like generic, this is what we think people are expecting of us Jester feature, where it was a lot of like about the Jester and about lore and about rules and Halloween and things like that. And then after about 7 days, we kind of looked at each other and we're like, this kind of sucks, right? Like this story is not interesting. This story is like derivative, and I don't care about anybody in the movie. So we spent the next 7 days like committing to like, I want to care about these characters, and I personally like leaving the Jester as more of a mysterious ingredient than making him like the sole focus, and let's really explore his backstory. I don't think people say they want that, but I don't think they really do.
Yeah, I mean, historically, usually, I mean, there are exceptions, but usually when they go into the back history of a character that doesn't really have one in the original ones, it's almost always a disappointment.
Right, exactly. It's like when you find out the secret to a magic trick. It's
Right.
it's like, man, I know it's so simple, but like, what is it? And then when you finally learn what it is, you go, oh, all right, that's what that is.
Yeah,
It was a little underwhelming.
it's kind of fun for everyone to have their own idea of what he is, and at the end of the day,
Exactly.
it's not
Yeah.
necessarily important what how he became what he is or what he is exactly.
Yeah. I love hearing everybody's different versions and interpretations. And if I were to answer the question of answer any of those questions that people had about it, I'd ruin that. You take that away from everybody. So let's leave them a mystery.
So the Jester himself, he's cool looking, so that's kind of fun, and it takes place in Halloween. But there's a lot of dark elements in the movie, dark themes, about suicide and guilt, and are any of those things like personal to you? Is there like a story there?
I think there is, because there are a lot of very sensitive things that are touched on, subject matter in the movie. And I think a lot of them are sensitive to a lot of people, not just me, but I definitely have a lot of my own personal things wrapped up in some of the things that, Emma is forced to listen to in the movie are things that you recognize in yourself about. Sometimes you have trouble with self-worth and things like that. And sometimes the worst possible thing that you could ever hear is that you don't matter to anybody. And that is what Mike and I find frightening, is existential things like that, rather than a ghoulie jumping out of a closet. It's maybe I don't matter. My life is meaningless. That's
yeah, no, yeah, and it is, and as you said, not people aren't going to relate to a ghost Jester or whatever. They might find it creepy, but you can relate to guilt and the idea of like, what is my purpose here, or do I have a purpose?
Yeah. What do I mean to everybody in my life?
Yeah, and the Jester really becomes, not to give away the movie, but a really dark character outside of just killing people or whatever. But because he feeds on people's on their guilt and like what the ghosts of their past and things like that.
Yeah, he. I think people love an antagonist that loves being an antagonist. Somebody who, like the Jester, gets a lot of pleasure out of what he does. He doesn't even need an audience a lot of the time. He's doing it for his own enjoyment. And he, in this film, is able to find kind of the thing that bothers you about you the most and pull on that. And that's, when he plays his game with Emma, that's what he's doing, is he's forcing her into confronting the ugliest parts of what she thinks about herself and about her own life.
Now, when you guys made this short originally, did you put it on YouTube right away, or did you guys have a festival run?
Oh no, we never had really the money for festivals at the time. I know festivals vary in admission fees and things like that, but we were just putting things up on YouTube and trying to find an audience that way, and still kind of learning how to distribute our own stuff.
Well, it's interesting because, I go to a lot of festivals, and I know a lot of my filmmaker friends, they have the shorts at festivals, and then a lot of the problems with that is they don't know what to do with them after. It's almost like a calling card of what I can do, and maybe I'll hope to make a feature. But you went a different route. You put it out there, and then it found its own audience.
Yeah, and that was something that we just had to, because Mike and I went to film school together, and we made the joke that the best thing we got out of film school was meeting each other, and we're still paying off that friendship. But that was something that was kind of liberating. Once you graduate film school, you have that, like, all right, what is my purpose? Like, how do I take this and use it? Like, and you see a lot of people, in the local filmmaking community, jumping to corporate stuff or wedding videography or things like that. And we just went into, what do we want to do? Like, what do we want to do the most? We want to do narrative shorts, and we don't know what that means. We don't know what is going to happen, but if we don't do what we are the most passionate about, how do we sustain that? So we wrote, and I directed our first short film, Echo, and it, like, being there on set, it was just in the woods, but making something, and like nobody told us to do it. It was one of those things where it's like, we're doing this, like we got everybody here. We wrote it. We're making it. We're gonna put it out. It was a liberating kind of feeling, like nobody's in charge but us for this, and just having the faith that if we care enough about something, somebody else will too, and it will find an audience. Somebody somewhere will find this, and it'll be what they're looking for.
I just want to ask you, because you mentioned film school, and you think maybe the best part of film school is you and Michael like meeting.
Yeah.
What? Because I have a lot of friends and just people I've had on the show, and the majority didn't go to film school, and some people who have don't have the best things to say about it. So, what are the pluses and the minuses of film school?
Well, I think the film school, just like with anything really, is I'm not saying don't go to film school. I'm just saying you get out of film school what you put into it. So if you really want to learn, you can go to film school. You can meet a lot of great like-minded people. You can meet a lot of great instructors who are hopefully going to have a lot more experience than you, and you can pull from that. But if you are that passionate about filmmaking and you are hungry for knowledge and information, you don't have to go. The information is out there and the people are out there, and you can find it if you look hard enough. I mean, and nowadays you don't even have to look that hard. It just takes. You'll never learn more if you don't do it. You can go to film school, you can sit in class all the time, but until you go out and you make. We learned a lot from making Echo, and I learned a lot from making the Jester feature film that I wouldn't have learned if more than I would have learned if we just kept making short films. Mm-hmm. And we every project you try to learn something else.
Along those lines, when there's a dread that comes to you to like, we want to make this feature, and you made these short films, but the idea of making a feature is much bigger, it's more budget, it's more time, and just going into that, like, I assume you're both excited. Both of you guys would be excited, but also, it would be nerve-wracking, I assume.
Oh yeah, that's an understatement. Nerve-wracking. It's dread is a good description. It is, I would say, maybe the most stressful circumstance I've ever been in. But like sustained stress, and it comes with I wouldn't say crippling, because I ended up with a movie at the end, but a significant amount of imposter syndrome. But you just have to trust yourself, and if you don't believe that you can do it, you're not going to cross the finish line. So I do it to not let everybody else down, including myself. When you get the phone call that every YouTube filmmaker wants to get, where somebody is like, I'm a real guy and I want to get you to make a movie. What do you say? And when you get that phone call, you're like, when you think of it in your head, you're like, man, that day'll never come, but I wish that it did. And then when it does come, you're like the most terrified that you've ever been. And I knew in that moment that if I didn't say yes, I would always regret it, and I would be mad at myself for that. So I think that applies to every aspect of the production process. Is you have to figure this out, and you have to just not let yourself down first. You got to be proud of yourself. So be proud of yourself before anyone else can be proud of you.
And it wasn't that long ago, the idea of something be on YouTube, people would say that's just on YouTube, as like it doesn't necessarily, matter. But Talk to Me came from people on YouTube, and now you have a movie out. So YouTube is a platform that everyone can be on, but, things can come from that too.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's only been, the last maybe less than 20 years too. And before that, like if you were growing up in the 90s or the 80s and you wanted to be a filmmaker, you had to get a lot more creative with how you shot it, and then even more creative with how you got eyes on it and distributed it. There were a lot less options for that back then, and now anybody can shoot anything, even with a camera on your phone, and your venue for distributing it is on the internet, and everybody can see what you've made. Some things maybe not everybody should see. It is incredible the way the landscape has changed over the years and the opportunities that it's offered. Like the Rocka guys with Talk to Me, and then David F. Sandberg with Lights Out. It's like it does happen, and when it does happen, you have to be ready for the opportunity as much as you can be.
By the way, Dean here in the chat says he can relate to what you were talking about earlier about Do You Matter and things. So it's nice that people get something out of your movie.
Yeah, that's when you write something like this feature based off of those kinds of short films, it's like this is different than the shorts, and I think that's cool. I think it's cool that we went a different direction than people might be expecting, but you're always worried if are people gonna prefer something else, or that we had done something else.
Yeah, a short film in nature usually, I don't want to say like a punchline, but it kind of is. A short film in nature, it has like something at the end that kind of hits you. So I've seen features made off shorts that just kind of do that in an hour and a half, and that doesn't work. You can't just have 90-minute build up to something pops at you or something. So I do think it's a hard thing a lot of times to expand a short film that wasn't intended originally to become a feature film.
Yeah, and that was a big concern of ours, having never written a feature film before, was how do we get this to not feel like a 90-minute short film? And that's the first draft of the script was 60 pages. Like that's what we did. We wrote a long short film. So yeah, that was something that we were very conscious of, and really at the end of the day, you have to commit and tell yourself, like, hopefully if this story connects with even one person watching, then we've done our job. So thank you, Dean.
Yeah.
You validated us.
Yeah. Jamie Hill's also in the chat, who's for the voice of Skinamarink, the voice of Mom in Skinamarink. And so another movie that kind of came out of nowhere and became really well. So I should mention Mike You mentioned Mike Sheffield is your writing partner, and he's also the Jester.
Yes. Mike, go ahead. Did you have a question?
No, you can go into Mike, and then I'll ask a question.
Mike, yeah, we met in film school, and I'm so grateful. Mike and I, everything that I've made with him, and it was such a wonderful addition to this opportunity to not just make a feature film, but make it with my best friend. When they say, yeah, whoever played the Jester in the shorts, bring him too. Like, we like him. And it's like, like I don't want somebody's interpretation of our Jester. I just give me the Jester, and whatever Mike Sheffield's got, that's what I want. Like, he is the Jester, and really in a way that nobody else can be. Whatever that means, that's what I want. And I'm so glad that after however many years it's been, you develop a shorthand and a trust, and he understands the character as much as me, because we both kind of developed him over the years. So when something, I can go up to him when we're shooting and say, like, this just isn't working. Like, can you do something else? And Mike will usually have an idea physically to filter the Jester through. And I'm lucky to have him.
Yeah, no, he's great, because if people don't know, if they've not watched the shorts or the feature yet, he doesn't speak, so it's all in physical acting, his movements, and I think sometimes people think anyone with a mask could do whatever these people do, but I've seen movies where it is just a guy in a mask and they're not particularly good. There is a charisma about someone who's not speaking. I think it's harder.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the fun for the audience too. Is you can project a little bit onto the Jester and interpret his actions in kind of your own way. I mean, we're usually trying to trying to indicate as much as we can what kind of process is going on maybe inside the Jester. But yeah, a lot of it still is, unpredictable. And I think that's what makes the Jester a lot of fun.
How about the evolution of the mask? From it's almost it's like a front mask in the original short, and now it's a mask that covers the whole head.
Yeah, so the mask in the shorts was purchased at Walgreens for $6. So really inspiring story there about how we we developed that. But we like when you're like when you're making short films just on your own, you see something like that in a Walgreens and you're like, I want to use it. Like, it just looks really cool, and trying to make something around just the image of that mask is kind of how the first short came to be. And then moving into the feature, there are licensing reasons why you can't use that mask from the Walgreens, and but the benefit is you get some mega awesome talented guy like Jason Baker to make you a similar Jester mask that is like way awesome. And I mean, when I heard that, like, oh yeah, it's Jason Baker. I don't know if you heard of him. He's the guy who he made the grabber mask and the black phone. It's like, what? That's you? Oh, it's just that guy then? That's the guy who works with Tom Savini. Like, he's gonna make our mask? Okay, yeah, sure. And so getting to like see concept art and kind of work with an artist to develop a newer look for the Jester, a more updated look. I mean, it was all part of the like brand new experience. It was incredible.
And speaking of cool names, Eduardo Sanchez is involved as a producer. How did he become involved? Former guest on the show.
He is he's working with Cinematic and Epic, and I think it was offered to him to be executive producer on this, and luckily he liked the shorts and the treatment and the script, and had some notes on it that I liked. And yeah, it's just Ed's been kind of a supporter of the idea, which is nice when you have the support of a guy who, when he was 20 years old, kind of changed the face of filmmaking forever. Like, especially
one of the most influential movies of my lifetime, I would say.
Yeah, specifically changed like independent, ultra low budget filmmaking forever. Mm-hmm. So it's like, oh, that guy wants to help us out. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And a plug for him, his new movie, Satanic Hispanics. I saw it at the theater recently. Had a short run at the theater. If anyone can go see it, I would suggest to go see it. It's really fun.
Yeah.
And Matt Cerrito, he's great in the movie.
Yeah. Matt Cerrito. He was another, name that you get, because making a movie at this ultra low budget level, you don't know what you're going to be able to achieve, and not just on a technical level, but with like, what kind of talent are we going to be able to get? You don't have a ton of options, but I think the script was sent to Matt Cerrito through a mutual contact, and with no expectation, just kind of like a let me know your thoughts kind of thing. And he said, yeah, I love it, and I want to be John. And it's like, what? Really? Really? Like, you read the whole thing? So yeah, and he shows up on set and is just the nicest, coolest guy, and loves like joking around, and is like really supportive of this level of filmmaking, because it is kind of like a little bit Wild West compared to the larger productions that are very set in, because they have to be very organized, and we are just kind of figuring things out we have to be problem solvers every day, and it's a little more chaotic. But yeah, he's kind of a goofball on set, and then you call action, and he starts saying these lines that you wrote, and you go, oh, oh. It's like oh, this guy's really good. This guy's like a real actor.
Right. Yeah, no, he's great, and I'm happy to hear that, and it doesn't surprise me because he's also he plays if people don't know, he plays a devil in this really weird show that I like on Adult Swim. So I always like that when there's people who do like mainstream stuff who also do a lot of weird stuff, and I kind of in my mind think, oh, I think they probably enjoy doing these things because not necessarily they're getting paid a giant sum of money to
he he's a consistently working, like, in demand actor. He did not have to be there, and he really, I'm so thankful for people like him who just seem to like the idea enough that they contributed their time and their talent to the production.
And how about casting the sisters? So once you start expanding, the story, and so you have these two characters that are like, the center of the movie, finding the right people for them.
Yeah, I was sent all the audition tapes, and sorting through. I made like a little Excel spreadsheet of like who my top picks were and who I wanted for what, and was finding a lot of like the more side characters, but the sisters are the most important people in the movie. If we don't have the right Emma and the right JC, then the movie's not going to work. And I remember, because I had to write sides for them to read. They weren't reading just from the script. They were reading some other stuff that I had written. And in JC's audition, I had written a shift in her dialogue, because that's what I wanted to see from the performance, where she goes from being this kind of like bubbly, affable person to somebody who you could tell is struggling with a little bit more underneath the surface. And Delaney White was the one who portrayed that shift the best. She just cracks that exterior that JC has, and shows that there is more going on underneath. And I was like, oh yeah, that. And then on the first day, she like, her most emotional moment in the movie was the first thing that we shot for the movie. And I asked her if she was okay with that, and she was a team player, didn't mind at all. And seeing her perform that monologue was like affecting to me, because I was like, whoa, like these are ways that I've never heard words that I've written be performed before. And then with Emma, Lelia was really the only option for me. We were down to the wire with Emma, and then I got Lelia's audition, and I was like, yeah, like she carries the woundedness, but she kind of hides that with anger, and it was so believable to me. And Lelia gives such a heartbreaking performance in this movie. I think, like, Emma, I love Emma, and I want Emma to be okay, and Emma is really not okay for a lot of this movie.
As you started the interview, that's very important in a horror movie, because we've watched movies where it's just fun to watch the killer kill people, but if you actually care about the people, it means a lot more when something happens to them.
Yeah, and there are absolutely times where I just want to watch a horror movie with somebody last night lovingly referred to those characters as meat bags. We like to have meat bags in a movie because we like to watch Jason smash them to bits or whatever he's going to do to them. Sometimes you're in the mood for that, but for this particular project, we didn't want to do that. We want to do something a little bit different, and I'm so glad that I was able to work with those actors, because they brought, that as a writer, which I'm now trying to convince myself I am. They dignify your words in a way you've never experienced before when you're working with pros for the first time. So you know, my favorite scene maybe in the movie is the bar scene between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of the last things we shot, and I finally got to see these two actors perform a scene together and watch these two characters interact for the first time. And we did that whole scene in one take for each take, just 7 minutes of dialogue. So I just got to sit there and, as an audience member, watch like from beginning to end that whole dialogue scene, and then feel validated, like, oh, it does feel good. Like this scene does feel like it works. It paces well, and the performances shift in tone and mood correctly. And bless you.
Thank you. Sorry to interrupt you with a sneeze, but yeah.
No, absolutely. Like, it was yeah, I love these actors and I love these characters.
No, they all did a great job, and I hope people check it out. So, do you know where people can see it starting tomorrow?
Starting tomorrow, the 29th of September, it's going to be at the Laemmle in LA. Is where it's going to be screening. I believe it's screening for a week there, and then starting on October 3rd, it is released on VOD, so you can already pre-order it on Apple TV, but it's also going to be, you know, Amazon, iTunes, any of those other any places where you buy or rent movies, you can find this. And then November 7th is the physical release.
Oh,
so
right.
I get to have a Blu-ray of my movie on my shelf, which is very, very cool.
Yeah, it's very exciting. Well, congratulations. Hope people check it out. Great movie for Halloween. See in the theater if you can, and if you can't, video on demand's great, and the physical release is going to be very fun. And not to get ahead of ourselves, will there be any thoughts on a Jester 2?
There will definitely be thoughts. That's all I can promise.
All right, very cool. And where can people follow you to see what you're up to?
You can find me on...
Not like to your home, but, you know, online.
Right. Well, I'm glad you said that, because I was about to give my full address away. You can just search my name, Colin Krawchuk, on social media. I'll pop up. There's only one of me.
All right. Fair enough. And hopefully we can talk to you again, and Michael sometime.
Yeah, absolutely. Look forward to it.
Yeah, very good. Well, thank you for doing this, and congratulations on the movie, and hope people dig it.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, I'm going to play the trailer here. Thanks, God. Thank you. If I have it here. Yes, I do.
There it is. Come on.
Yo, Jesse, you good?
Trick or treat.
I tried. Wait, please.
I have hated this man my entire life.
I know you know what you did to cover up for something inside your gut. It is festering, gnawing at you. I know you can feel it. You try to bury it. But that rot is spreading, a decaying hole swallowing your heart.
Man, there's blood on you. Is it yours?
I never really believed in ghosts.
All right, and I am back here once again at Without Your Head. A big thank you to Colin. That was very cool to talk to him, and hope people check out the Jester. I just came back from LA. If I was out there, I could watch it in the theater, but I've got a lot of buddies out there in LA, and they can check it out. Now that I'm bigger here, you can see how scruffy I am. I need to trim this up, but screw that. We're not here to talk about it right now. I'm pretty hot, actually, with this jacket on. I hope people don't mind if I take it off. But let's see. Dean says that looks good. Thank you, Dean. Bless you. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. We are Pepe Poteet is here. Good man, Pepe Poteet. Dean's waiting for the address. Yes, you are hard. Well, thank you, Mr. We got Horror Biz here in the chat. Jamie Hill. Ken Craver. Good old Ken. Got a lot of good folks here to watch the show. So, it's interesting. The Jester, they made the short for $500 several years ago. It has like 15 million views on YouTube. And it didn't, play festivals. It's just these two buddies. They make it. They put it out there. And it finds its own audience. Something I was going to bring up the interview. I didn't have a lot of time because he has another engagement here in a couple minutes. So, there is a real need, I think, from horror audiences. They're looking for the next, not even that's the next, but more like slasher franchise characters. Because we continually, reboot Leatherface, Michael Myers. We just ended the trilogy, and they're already talking about doing a new one. And what is the reason? It's just like people want to go see these slasher movies, and there's really only a handful of like the iconic ones. You've got Leatherface, Jason, who's been tangled up in lawsuits. Freddy, they tried to reboot, but it just really didn't work without Robert Englund, and Robert doesn't want to come back. We saw a Candyman reboot, which I thought was very successful. We saw Halloween reboot many, many times. Saw movies now are Saw and Scream for more of the 90s franchises. We're getting more of them, and now we're even getting weird sequels for Saw, like between 1 and 2, so Jigsaw can still be alive. And then we see a movie like Terrifier, low budget, hugely low budget compared to these other films, gets a small release, and it really catches on and captures people's imaginations or attention, and goes on to be, a big success. And I think a lot of that is people wanting these slasher films, and we haven't had a new character in a long time. So here's a new character, Art the Clown, and now we have the Jester. And will the Jester have that same success? I don't know, but it's already had huge success on the YouTube. 15 million, I believe it's 15 million, 15, 18 million, many millions of views is a pretty big deal. And so I think that's a great story for independent creators out there, especially if coming up Severed Limbs Film Festival, and that is a place that we showcase and embrace and celebrate independent horror shorts. So you can still send them in. I think you have a couple weeks left to get those in there. Free to submit, and it'll be free to watch. Any level. There's been experienced filmmakers who sent some in. People who only made stuff specifically for Severed Limbs. So I'm not saying it's going to take off like the Jester, but there's a chance you're going to get people to watch and people into it. So do it. Nothing original anymore. I don't agree with that, Pepe Petit, because we have stuff like Jester. We have stuff like Skinamarink was original. We have stuff like Art the Clown and Terrifier's original. Just this week I saw, I don't know, there's a lot of original horror movies that come out. Talk to Me, very original. I thought it was a great movie. Just a lot of good stuff out there, but sometimes people just really fixate on, Halloween, these new Halloweens, new Leatherfaces, and these movies. But there's a lot of stuff out there. Some of Talk to Me did really well at the theater, so there's a lot of stuff out there. Sometimes you just have to look beyond just the mainstream theatrical release. But there are stuff on Shudder, stuff at festivals. Even stuff that's released at the theaters. Like I said, Talk to Me was a great movie, I thought. So just go out there and check some stuff out. I think there's been a lot of great horror stuff in the short period. So, hey, this looks like I just got this email. We will have some of the directors from VHS 85 on the show next week. That'll be exciting. There's going to be a lot of interviews popping up on the show that, because I get it, a lot of people want on the show, which I'm excited about. So let's do it. I'm going to try to do as many interviews as possible. Boom. You know how you could help out, and I'm not asking for the cashola, but it does cost a lot to do these live shows, keep all the archives for free. So if you ever would like to make a donation to the website, you can Venmo Headyverse or PayPal withoutyourhead@gmail.com, and I will send you out a Without Your Head sticker as a thank you. I've been thinking about doing a Patreon at some point if I could think of some fun stuff. I don't want to really do interviews that are for subscribers only. I like all the shows to be free for everybody, so maybe I'll think of some other fun perks. Ooh, new VHS movie. That's right. Yeah, VHS 85 coming to... It is coming to Shudder. So that'll be exciting. I've got a couple other guests coming up tonight, and to be perfectly honest, they have been pre-recorded, so I don't want you to think, wow, Jackie Jones changes his shirt here instantly for these interviews. But why not play them here on the show? They'll be new to you. They're great interviews, so we're going to have Jason Howden talking about Deathgasm 2. Very cool. There's the new crowdfunder out there to help get the sequel made. It's going to be chock full of dildos and blood and gore and heavy metal. We're also going to be joined by Tereza Nvotová, who made the new folk horror drama Nightsiren, a Slovakian filmmaker. Very interesting interview, and that'll be on here momentarily as well. Ooh, dildos, you say? That gets Dean all excited. By the way, I don't normally do this, but if any of you folks would like to hop on and just ask a question or a comment or something like that, I'm going to put out the link. Video into the show and talk to me for a little bit before we go to these other interviews. Video in and talk to Nasty Neil. Just have a question or a comment or a topic ready. And you can do so. I know it's going to be video, so I know it's short notice. You might be like, well, I don't have time to go wash my hair. I don't have time to shower. Dean's, got the dildos out. So I get it. I get it if you don't have time. But this might be something we do in the future. The future, you say? Yes, the future, Conan, all the way in the year 2000. So not only do we have Severed Limbs coming out, which is very exciting, we're going to have the return of the Halloween costume contest. So people out there, take pictures whenever you're dressed up this spooky season for the return of our Halloween costume contest, and whenever you carve some pumpkins, because we will have the pumpkin carving contest. That'll be very cool. Please subscribe to the channel here. You can not only watch all these shows, you can watch 18 years of archive shows. You can watch the new Todd Yeager video reviews, which are very fun. You can watch the amazing audio reviews by Diablo Joe. You can watch Dinner and Movies. I'm adding a lot of trailers here, a lot of stuff going on. I just saw this on Hulu. Of all movies to celebrate, they're going to celebrate 30 years of Leprechaun. It's okay, I get it. When we get to St. Patrick's Day, everyone's got to pretend that Leprechaun is this great classic horror movie. I get it because there's no other movies to talk about on St. Patrick's Day. But I will not stand to waste your time on Halloween with all the great horror movies that are out there. You're going to watch all 8 Leprechaun movies? What are you, crazy? It's bad enough to pretend these are good on St. Patrick's Day. But during Halloween, when you can literally watch any horror movie in the world, not just even ones that take place in Halloween, you're going to tell me to go watch all 8 Leprechaun movies? What do you think I am, Michael J. Epstein? This is insanity, I tell you. Insanity! Annabelle and I will be going to Brooklyn, a horror film festival coming up. That'll be a good time. I'd recommend film festivals. It don't matter at any level. If you're just a fan, you love horror movies, they're fun to go to. If you're thinking of making them, if you're involved in any level, I would recommend going to film festivals. You're going to see stuff that will pop up in Shudder, in a year or so. You'll see shorts that you'll maybe never see again. You see a lot of very cool stuff, a lot of original stuff, a lot of stuff that doesn't fit into one box. So like they're horror usually, but they're weird, some weird stuff, because sometimes people don't like something that is genre bending, but you get a lot of that at the film festivals. Horror biz. I jumped ship after Leprechaun in the Hood. That's the best one of them. Leprechaun is full of cheese. I would say it's full of cheese, but it's not full of goodness, Pepe Petite. I am not a fan. Adam Dean Machine. Also tempted to watch Leprechaun. Oh my God. I'm warning you, Dean, so don't come yelling at Nasty Neil if you watch Leprechaun and you're like, what in the hell did Neil make me watch? Last Leprechaun movie takes place 25 years after the original. Wow. I will be honest, I've not seen the latest Leprechaun. So possibly it's not as horrendous as the other ones. I do think Leprechaun in the Hood is the most tolerable. It's kind of fun, I guess. So yeah, I'd mentioned this earlier, but so they're talking about selling the rights to Halloween to bring back Michael Myers. Okay, guys, we just had the trilogy that was the direct sequel to the original movie, bypassed all the other sequels, all the remakes, all the reboots. Bring back Michael Myers as an 80-year-old man, and he's chasing down, an 80-year-old woman. Whatever you think of the trilogy, I thought it was pretty rotten, but it went all over the place. It kind of changed. It's weird, some of these new trilogies, because you think if you go forward with the trilogy, you have this movie starts here. Here's my story arc. It ends here. But it seems like all 3 were completely different films. The first one's really about Michael Myers going after the woman. And then the second one is he's just evil and she means nothing. And then the third one, we get a whole new guy who's going to be like the new killer who then dies. So you start a storyline and end the same storyline in the same movie. Plus, it's the end of a trilogy. So it's completely bizarre why you even start that in the end movie. And then you have a finite ending to Michael Myers. No, he's get killed. He gets, ripped to pieces. So he's like, this is it. No more. And then a year later, aha! We will bring him back. Now, if you had the plan to do more of these, don't have that ending. And what are we going to do? The exact same thing? Another, let's bypass those last ones. They didn't happen. No. Now we're having, another reboot from the original movie. Now this is an alternate storyline. Come on. Now maybe someone has a great idea. It's not impossible. I kind of think the character's been beaten to death at this point, but who knows? Maybe you have a new idea. The only thing I think immediately is you go with the shape. He's the shape of evil. So he's more of a vessel, the physical being, and whatever the evil is just just using the vessel of Michael Myers. So with that with that idea, you could have, someone else be the vessel of evil, the shape of evil. But the problem with that is most of the audience is pissed if you get a Halloween movie and there's no Michael Myers. So most likely we're just going to have Michael Myers just, somehow he was like, wasn't he putting like a wood chipper? Not a wood chipper, but he's basically, let's just say he was putting a wood chipper. He's all ripped to pieces. I think that's how it ended. And they rip him all apart. But now he just show up with a Band-Aid? He's okay. Now he's 85. I understand these aren't like documentary films, but you have to have some semblance of sense. Our buddy Justin Bernard Head, he's got the first 2 episodes of Dark Signals on YouTube. Check those out. They had the first 7, I believe, premiered last week at the theater. That was very cool. Good. Big shout out to Justin. We love Justin Bernard Head. We're going to have him back on soon to talk about this new web series who someone here is part of. Speaking of Leprechaun, Warwick Davis is going to be at Texas Frightmare Weekend in Texas. Wouldn't it be weird if I said he's going to be at Texas Frightmare Weekend in like Indiana? That would be weird, wouldn't it? Yeah, but that's not what I'm talking about. So yeah, a lot of cool stuff going on. Let me grab these interviews. So we're going to be showing these interviews here momentarily. I do have some cool, what is this? Does pot help with horror movies? I don't know. I don't smoke the weed. Why do you need help with a horror movie? If you don't like it, just don't watch it. I mean, I don't watch it. Oh my God, I need help to watch this. That doesn't really make much sense to me. You shouldn't need help watching something you dig. We do not advocate all these drugs. I have no problem people smoking the weed. Let's see here. So, this Saturday is the return of Saturday Night Frights. Saturday! Saturday's all night for frightening. So Saturday Night Frights this Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern. We're going to have a collection of classic and not so classic sci-fi horror trailers. And then we're going to show Little Green People, the feature film, followed by a live Q&A with the filmmakers of Little Green People. So join us. It's a lot of fun. That's on Kick, kick.com/withoutyourhead. So go join the Kick page. I used to do them here on the YouTube, but YouTube sometimes say, you're a naughty boy, you can't show these movies. So we do that on the Kick. So go and subscribe to Kick. It's easy. You have to make an account to join the chat room, but it's fun because you have a live chat room. You can interact with me, the filmmakers, and other fine fans like Dave Deadman and possibly Dean O'Machino and Pepe Potit and all the good folks. Also, coming up to Saturday Night Frights will be Taped Up Memories, and that will be our October. I'm going to try to do one every month. So in October, will be Taped Up Memories. And here is the trailer.
So the best way he was like,
and I'm just glad that we've got, this little trip to send me off on my...
Sure does.
I hope you've got fresh, clean hands holding that device. Thank you.
Yeah. A toast to soldiers who fought for this great land.
and all the other stuff that's raining.
I mean, he said it's not far.
No, don't say that, man. That means he's fucking out here somewhere.
There is no...
It's a shit situation. It's not some conspiracy theory. Yeah, we should get him.
I'm scared now. So Taped Up Memories, that'll be in October by our boys Trash Arts over in the UK. So your boys there, Dean, these are the kind of movies your boys there in the UK are making. Let's see. I want to call in, but what do I ask Neil? Does he jacks off? You're a really weird dude. So, yeah, it looks good. What the hell is wrong with you folks? Can't you just ask something normal? Ain't nothing wrong with touching yourself to good. There you go, Pepe Potit. Or a good horror movie podcast. I assume everyone watching this is, having a good time, if you catch my drift. That's a good trailer. I agree, Dean. Those are good, fine folks over in England. Jamie Hill, she liked it. Thank you, Jamie Hill. Jamie's good. So, yeah, well, that'll be, that one we're going to have a special start time because all the filmmakers are in England, and I don't want to make them stay up till 2 a.m. to start the show. And then probably like 4 a.m. so it's over. So that one will start at 5 p.m. Eastern, which is 10 p.m. England time. I just think that's right. All right, so I'm going to get Jason Howden on here. Jason Lee Howden.
Station of Decapitation Without Your Head. I'm Nasty Neil, and I'm joined by the returning Jason Lee Howden of Deathgasm, Guns Akimbo, to here to talk about Deathgasm 2. Very
good.
Hi.
Thanks so much for having me, Neil.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for doing this again. So, Deathgasm 2, how long since the original had it been planned? Like, when did you, first, I think I want to make a sequel?
Well, yeah, it's kind of crazy because the first draft of the sequel was actually written before we premiered.
Oh, okay.
Deathgasm.
So it was a long time, yeah.
Yeah, a long time. It's sort of been on the back burner a little bit, yeah, we actually got a funding grant way back in 2015 to write a sequel through the a New Zealand writers. I think it was the Writers Guild and the New Zealand Film Commission, but yeah, so the script was there, and then shit happened. Basically, went on with Guns Akimbo, and then. Yeah, we tried to get Deathgasm 2 up and running it a few times, and it was just the appetite from the Film Commission for horror is that they don't really, they're a taxpayer-funded organization, and it's not really their taste, honestly. And so, yeah, I think they found it a little bit distasteful, which is, it's a fucking heavy metal splatter horror movie, so I don't know what to tell you. It's just it's not something that everyone gets. So that led us to the crowdfunding thing, which is doing the Kickstarter. I think I've always been really hesitant to do crowdfunding, but I was it's you're gonna get it out there, leave it up to the people. I mean, there's something kind of cool about bypassing the kind of the people in the financing world, and the notes that you get back from them. We want you to cut this out. We don't want this too gory. We don't like this song. And instead,
too many dildos and
no, too many dildos. we've got a penis decapitation scene in the sequel, which is everyone that reads is oh, I don't know about this. It's too far. And I'm well, if we've gone too far, then it's probably right. If people are saying we've gone too far, then it's probably perfect.
Yeah. So how much has the original script changed from the one that you're working on now?
It has changed a little bit. It's sort of been updated, I guess. Not in terms of its in terms of its extremeness, but just adjusted to the scale basically. But the first script was very ambitious. It was that thing where we sort of hope that we get $3 million, $2 million, and then it's you sort of think about it, then you're we had $200,000 for the first movie, and people people seem to have enjoyed that. Some people seem to have enjoyed that. So, it's like maybe the scale isn't always the biggest thing. It's, trying to make sure that you've still got that heart there, and, you've still got like underground bands, and you're not like, homogenizing it to try and make it more mainstream or anything like that. I think that's the biggest thing, and making sure that the characters are likable and everything.
Yeah, and in today's world, a lot of stuff that you wouldn't think would like do well with a bigger audience, like Terrifier 2, for example. Well, I would say it's mainstream, but it's definitely way bigger than it would have been, years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was amazing. I love the team behind that. I think they did an amazing job, and it's the same thing. Like, they had a vision. It's the sort of thing that it wouldn't get made by a lot of, definitely wouldn't get made by studios, but even a lot of like distributors would be like, oh, we don't really get this. And they just did it themselves and just made it happen. And there's something, and I think like fans really reacted to that. Like, they came out and drove to support it. Like, I had it amazing. It was a crazy time because like the new Hellraiser and Halloween like dropped on streaming, and then Terrifier 2 was like burning up all the cinemas. It's like, what's happening?
Yeah, it was gonna open like for like 2 days, and then it played for weeks, and it was a really cool experience going to see it in a theater because it was with like what I would consider like a mainstream crowd, and you could tell the vibe. The people were like, "Oh, this isn't The Conjuring. This is a much different movie."
I love that. I love that in a cinema where people walk out. Like, I haven't had that much. I remember a Fight Club, like people, when it first released, people walked out of the cinema, and I was like, yeah, it's kind of cool. Like that you're staying, like you feel like you sort of get it, and it's that's awesome.
Yeah. So Deathgasm, sometimes a movie will be really popular when it first comes out, and then honestly, a couple of years later, no one really talks about it or anything. But Deathgasm, like, I always see people like they're fans of it. So I assume that's helpful to like, oh, we're gonna do a sequel at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the most surprised out of anyone that people still talk about it. I haven't seen the film myself for like a long time, but yeah, I mean, we still get like get fans like asking for a sequel all the time. We get people sending photos of tattoos and fan art, and like there's this whole like group of people that make like gay fan art between Zach and Brody. Like they ship them. It's just amazing. It's like I would never have thought to do that. But yeah, like I love that it's like that you guys have like taken those characters and made them your own, and also like every Halloween there'll be like people posting photos dressed up as the characters. I'm not exactly sure why, because I know what you mean. Like some films sort of like they release and everyone sort of watches them, and they just sort of like don't get really talked about. And I'm not sure if Deathgasm deserves to be talked about still, but it's it's cool that there's still there's still people that like are excited about it, we've already sort of got past that 10% of our funding, and we just released like a couple of days ago, so hopefully we keep that momentum up and get the word out there.
Yeah, and I'll have the link here for everyone because it's on a Kickstarter. A few different ones, and there's a lot of cool incentives which we'll talk about. Some of them are when you're sitting down to think of them, like I don't know how much like experience you had with crowdfunding at all, so like were some of the stuff you thought of, or did people like, hey, you should try this on your Kickstarter? Or...
No, I think it was mainly the team. Like I honestly don't have that much experience, but like the producers, especially Andrew, has been like really from Raven Banner has been really proactive, and it's great having like those guys behind it, because that they're a distributor that like comes up with produces amazing packages, so you're going to get we're not like blowing smoke up people's asses. Like, we can actually do it, and they put together these amazing, like that they put together. They got this also heavy metal artist Riddick to do like a Deathgasm cover, and it's just phenomenal. Like, he does
the poster's great.
Yeah. So it's like they do fantastic work, and they really sort of put some cool stuff out there.
Yeah, and not just because they set up a lot of interviews or anything, but I won't say other places, but sometimes people send me movies and I'm like, oh, this is probably going to be bad. But even if it's stuff I don't like necessarily, Raven's banner it's always something interesting.
Yeah, totally. I mean, they're fans, you know, they get like genre, they get horror, and like they're the coolest people to deal with, you know, like you know, especially after going through like you know, the Hollywood system, you know, like you really sort of like gravitate towards people that are, you know, massive fans of the sort of films that they're putting out. It's not just like a business. It's like it's something that, you know, they love doing. And, you know, it's, you know, it's this sort of business. People, you know, you have to work with people that love doing it because it's hard.
Yeah. I know we're talking about Deathgasm, but like recently they put out all kinds of cool stuff for Mad Heidi, which is really fun, dude. Like the extra cheese edition and all that stuff.
So fun.
And I saw BJ McDonald is involved as a producer.
Yeah, BJ's fantastic. Like, massive fan. Obviously, he's had like you know, like huge like filmography, and including stuff that he's directed that have been like in the horror and metal spheres. You know, like those amazing Slayer videos and Studio 666 with the Foo Fighters.
I was a huge fan. That was one of my biggest surprise. Honestly, I saw the trailer and I was like, at first myself, I was like, is this an actual movie or is this like a joke? And then I went to see it. I was like, oh, this movie is like so much fun. It was one of the most fun I had in the theater that year.
Yeah, so having BJ involved is great. Like he's someone that's like really passionate about metal and horror, and you know, has the clout and the connections, and again, it's you know, someone that's really a big fan of the first movie, and which blows me away because I'm a massive fan of his, and it's amazing having him involved.
And were all the cast that's coming back, were they all into it right away? Or was there anyone you had to like, hey, do this? And they're like, no, I don't know.
Hardly. There's one guy, I won't mention who, but who's I think in Australia now, so we're gonna have to like get him over. But like I want to get it. You know, it wouldn't feel weird. Like I think if like someone wasn't keen to come back, I'd probably like rewrite them, because it's that thing where it's like Mortal Kombat and then Mortal Kombat Annihilation, where they like recast everyone, and you watch you're like, that's not rated, like that's not Sonya Blade. So it's you know, it works sometimes, especially iconic characters like Batman. Or James Bond, you can like cast anyone, but I think like for a movie like this, a lot of the heart comes from having those original characters, and if they weren't keen, I honestly wouldn't be doing it. So we're actually having like a meeting up with James and Milo that plays Zack and Brody, and we're gonna do like a watch, what do they call it, like a
watch along.
Watch along. Yeah, I'm actually me and him are doing it in person, and like I think Kim is of somewhere crazy exotic, Italy maybe.
Oh, okay.
I think she's gonna like stream in as well, and just like watch. I think this would have been the first time we want to watch the film together since like probably 2015. So it'll be cool to sort of like chat about it and share stories and yeah.
No, that'd be really fun. Guys. Yeah, you should surprise them with some of the fan art. You should pop some of that up.
Yeah, no, totally.
And Kimberly's really funny actually in the video on the Kickstarter.
Yeah, no, she's great. She's like just got so much enthusiasm. Like when we got her involved, she wasn't like a horror. You know, she doesn't come from a horror background, you know, but she's like, she walked into the studio and we just had gore everywhere. She's like, oh, holy shit. That's gross. And then I sort of forget that, like, because most people involved were like, you know, like hardcore horror, like people like makeup people and everyone. But yeah, there's still like no hesitancy, you know, did her own stunts, did everything, you know. So it's cool. I love working with like actors that just, it's not just a, you know, another role or like a, you know, a paycheck. It's like something that they want to like get into, and they're doing it for the experience, you know. I think that goes a long way.
I think that could come through a lot, especially like in independent movies. Like you could tell like if people are having fun and they're not just kind of walking through it.
Yeah, totally.
How big was how much of a bump or anything did you see like when Deathgasm was on Joe Bob?
Oh yeah, that was huge. I mean, I didn't even I didn't know about that. Someone like messaged me like, dude, your film's on Joe Bob right now. I'm like, what? And I didn't have Shutter, so I can watch it. It's funny because I had to. I watched like old Monster Vision. Like we used to have like bootleg VHS and sort of pass those around. That's how I was introduced to Joe Bob back in the 90s. And then like I had to get someone to rip rip the show of my own film and send it to me. I don't know if Shadow will like sue me for that. But, yeah,
that would be a great story. I don't want you to get sued, but it would be a great story if you get sued.
I'm sure they got better things to do. But like, yeah, so it's funny. I had to get a bootleg of my own Shadow, my own Joe Bob episode as well.
Yeah, I honestly even wondered, like, I wonder why, why you weren't on it. Like, maybe they would have had you on, on Zoom or something. But
yeah, I mean, they do that with like, especially with like bigger films. They have like people like Barbara Crampton on, which is amazing. Yeah, definitely wasn't expecting on, but yeah, it would have been cool to get a link. I hit them up and they wouldn't send anyone. Like they just, yeah, I don't know, they're funny. So, but yeah, it was still like it was just blown away watching it and just having him giving the film 4 stars and just like doing the rundown of all like the tally of all the boobs and gore kills and everything. It's just like, wow, this is surreal. He's talking about a film that we did, and and they don't do modern-ish films on there that much. Like they mainly stick to a lot of like older films. So it's kind of cool being one of the the small number of films that have been chosen. So yeah, I mean, and there was a lot of people that just that was like there was a massive spike from that, like you said.
Yeah, that's cool. You get exposed to a new audience. And Felissa Rose called into that episode. She was the mangled deck expert, I believe.
Yeah. She would be an expert on that. She's oh god, I remember why, because I saw Sleepaway Camp 2 first, so I already sort of knew the twist before, because for some reason Sleepaway Camp 2 was in video shops in New Zealand, but it was hard to find the first one. I'm not sure it's a distributor. It's same as lots of films, like we had Fruit of the Gods 2 and The Hills Have Eyes 2, but not the first ones here. So yeah, but I went into it knowing, and so it's really interesting watching that film and just knowing the twist is going to come. It's but yeah, I mean, quite a progressive role, I guess, now looking back on it.
Yeah, definitely. A weird in my town, I didn't have a theater for a long time. Then when we did, it never showed R-rated movies until Jackass 2. That was the first R-rated movie they showed, and I was like, of all movies, this is the one like we have to break the R rating.
It's crazy. Yeah, we were the same. They wouldn't play a lot of like horror. I remember I think Dracula was the first horror that I saw in a cinema in New Zealand. Francis Ford Coppola's, and then Jason Goes to Hell and Hellraiser 3 came to cinemas here, but I was too young to watch them. And I remember seeing Warlock 2, the Armageddon in cinemas and being blown away. Like, I'm in a cinema watching a horror movie, but to be honest, like most of my horror movie experience has been VHS, which is why I still love the format, because it's what I grew up on, and yeah, I've got someone did a bootleg VHS for the first Deathgasm. Hopefully we'll get like a proper official release for the second one.
Yeah,
because Raven Better awesome, but yeah, it's just cool watching it all like scratchy and glitchy and grainy. That's like how I imagined watching it. That's probably if everyone was going to watch it, I'd be like, that's how I recommend watching it.
Yeah, there's a lot of movies I actually think when they restore them, it doesn't. It depends on the movie, but I know I went to see like Texas Chainsaw Massacre at the theater. It's 35mm terrible print, really added to the movie. And then the same theater I saw the restoration, and it was like crystal clear, and I was like, this isn't nearly as good.
No, I mean, that film so much, and it just has that vibe, like it's so like grimy and like
it feels like you're watching something you're not supposed to watch.
It does feel like it feels like some sort of documentary or stuff film or something. It just has that. Oh man, such a classic. But yeah, you're right. Like it's some movies I would just rather watch on like VHS or like watch a print. It just doesn't. Yeah, I mean, it's cool. It's cool that there's like that, re-releasing films on Blu-ray and everything. Though, like does.
Yeah, there's certain like Phantasm looks really good, cleaned up. It really depends on the movie, I guess.
It does. Yeah, you're right.
So, how about your family, your parents? Were they cool with you, watching horror movies, and then I want to make a horror movie?
No, they hated horror. I was into dark stuff even when I was really young. Like I remember when I was 5 or 6 wanting to get a Dracula book, and my mother just being dead against it. And but I found a loophole in my early teens. I wasn't allowed to get anything R-rated out except for ninja movies, because my dad wanted to get me into sports.
Oh,
he's like,
he wanted you to be a
ninjas.
ninja.
Yeah. He's like, he thought ninjas are martial arts. I was like R18 ninja movies where people getting shuriken in the eye and decapitated and everything. So I watched a lot of R18 ninja movies. That was my loophole. But then as soon as I was old enough to rent them myself, before I was old enough to rent them, I just sit in the video shop and I look at the covers after school. And I just, especially the Nightmare on Elm Street ones, those amazing illustrated covers, and I look on all the screenshots in the back. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? I try and piece together the movie in my head, and then reading Fangoria as well. So yeah, it's almost like the movies had this mythology of their own, aside from the actual movie. And it's the same as heavy metal. I used to go into music shops and I'd see a Motley Crue cover. I'm like, oh my God, it must be so evil. It's a pentagram. It must sound like Satan. And then you listen to it and you're like, oh Jesus. They're cool, but they're not even really heavy metal. But in my head, it had become more extreme than it actually was.
Uh-huh.
And I listened to the Cannibal Corpse for the first time, and I'm like, oh, this is what I thought Motley Crue would sound like.
How about now? Have they watched Deathgasm? Has your dad watched Deathgasm?
No, I don't think so. My mother passed away when I was quite young, unfortunately. But I'm not sure. Not sure about Dad. Probably not. He might have. I don't think he'd tell me if he did see it.
Yeah.
But my in-laws saw it and enjoyed it. They saw it in my local cinema in Nelson, New Zealand, where I saw a lot of a classic Jurassic Park, the same cinema, and a group of my friends went in corpse paint and were being really rowdy and drunken. So they said it was interesting. Definitely not their cup of tea, but I'm proud that they gave it a crack.
I like that word, interesting. It was interesting. Yeah. I know you can't give too much away about Deathgasm 2, but can you give a general idea of what the concept would be?
Yeah, well, it's set 10 years after the first movie. So Brody's washed up, unemployed. It's that thing where it's kind of cute, being a metalhead or a goth or a punk when you're in your teens, but then when you're getting into your 20s and 30s, it's people are more weirded out. So he still wants to get the band back together and everything. And he's watching Andrew's
I was too, yeah.
The first person who's not being murdered on camera or something.
His own found footage film.
So what happens is also Medina's broken up with Brody, and he sees he decides that getting the band back together is a way to get her back, get some cash because he's broke. So he wants to win this a Battle of the Bands thing. So we're going with the Battle of the Bands, the classic Wayne's World, Bill and Ted. I think it's such a great device in music movies. I've always loved movies where there's a Battle of the Bands. Just such a great goal for the characters, for metal characters. So but to get the band back together, he has to basically raise the dead, because half of them are killed off in the first movie. And then, so he does the spell wrong, and then other people start coming back to life, and it turns into a giant clusterfuck, basically. It sort of plays out. It's one of those things that it is a bit more meta, and there is a little bit more we're making fun of the first movie, maybe Gremlins 2 is a good reference, where Gremlins 2 was making fun of the first movie a bit, but at the same time, we're not trying to make something too be too
not too much
intellectual about it. We still want the gore, we still want the laughs, we still want the dick jokes. Even though it's 2023 and those things aren't necessarily they're a little bit frowned upon, we still want to give the fans what they want. And
Yeah, well, I think they're frowned upon, like, people will say, but I don't know if they're frowned upon by the actual people who watch.
No, exactly. No, that's the thing. And I get weirded out because horror is like, there are some like really extreme horrors out there, but, for the most part, there is like a big PG-13 thing. And, and I'm not like slagging off modern horror movies because I think it's like an amazing time for horror. But there is this elevated thing where it's like, we're better than the films in the 80s, and and I'm like, well, that's cool, but I love those movies, and I appreciate that they were just like putting like tits in the movies just to get teenage boys to read them. And I was one of those teenage boys, but at the same time, there's something like weirdly wholesome about that to me. So I don't know.
Yes. There's always exceptions. I mean, there are some cool PG-13 movies, but there's some you watch and you can clearly tell like they made a PG-13, so more people.
Yeah, I felt that about the Megan film, which was made by a Kiwi filmmaker, and again, not like trying to diss it or anything, but I was like, you could see where they were like, okay, now we want the TikTok crowds to like get into this movie, and it just I could see the cuts. I could sort of see like they probably did shoot more gore and then cut it out, and that's. Yeah, it reminds me of the 80s, like, the MPAA, late 80s, early 90s, like, movies like Leatherface, where you can see that they had shot gore that got cut out. I'm like, oh, that always feels like, like kind of silly.
Yeah. And it's probably too early but what are your plans to do with the finished Deathgasm 2? As a, like, physical release, digital? Would you go festivals? Hopefully theatrical. I don't know.
Yeah, but hopefully festivals. Especially if I get to go to some and like hang out. I'm sober these days though, which is like the festival circuit. When I first did it, I didn't realize that the festival circuit is just a giant like booze cruise across the world. Like, So like, but yeah, man, I think the festivals were great. Like especially like the horror festivals and the genre festivals just really get like, wow, these people, people are just so into it, and they've just really like, it's like this is my tribe, these are my people, and you really get that like a great response. So I'm hoping. The same festivals that play Deathgasm 2 will play Deathgasm 2, and obviously Raven Banner have got like a awesome physical release planned, and yeah.
I'm a big fan of festivals, and I always recommend them to any, like, if you're in movies, if you just want to watch movies, I think they're great for any level of person involved in movies at all.
Yeah, man, it's just such a cool vibe, like hanging out with fans, getting to meet people, just getting like a instant response from the audience, like, okay, that joke worked. And also seeing the different cultures, like in Korea, they didn't laugh at one of the parts that I thought were funny, that were written for jokes, they were like totally silent. And then there was like meant to be like a heartwarming scene or a traumatic scene, and like cracking up. And I'm like, okay, I'll take it.
As long as they're reacting, I guess it's good. There's people should check out the Deathgasm Kickstarter, because there's a lot of fun stuff from all different levels. You can get thank yous, you get your name in the movie, you get killed in the movie. If you want to spend a bit more. And the Polaroids are fun.
Yeah, like. That's always a fun thing. That's what I would get if I was like just thinking maybe I'll buy that reward and like kill myself in a movie. I don't know. Because that's always like just a fun thing. Like I remember they used to run stuff like the first. I remember like I had a 70s magazine, and for like it was after the first Star Wars, before Empire, and they had a competition to design a droid. And the competition was way over by the time I read the magazine, but I was always like, man, it's so cool. Like some kid got to design one of the droids in Empire Strikes Back. I've always meant to like go back and actually find out which one they designed. But it's just cool, like getting people to participate and be a part of it.
Yeah, because especially the independent movie, it's like you're making it because people are into it, and if people can be involved, even just getting thanks in the credits, that's like a really cool thing, I think. mean, there wasn't stuff like that when we were growing up. You would say thank you in Friday the 13th Part 4 or something.
Dude, I imagine going back in time, I'd have thank yous on all these movies. That'd be so cool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I have a friend. He gets his son credit in all kinds of independent horror films as producer, and he's got way more credits than anyone I know. And
That's so great.
Yeah, so I think it's pretty awesome. So, Deathgasm 2, I'm really excited about it. I love the first one, not just because you're here. I was a big fan of the first one, and I'm really excited to watch another one.
Yeah, cool. Thanks so much for having me and chatting. It's been awesome.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll do it again sometime. We'll do it when Deathgasm 2 is coming out.
Yeah, totally.
All right. All right. Very good. All right. Thanks.
Go, cheers, bro.
Yeah.
All right. And I'm back here. Thanks, Jason Lei Howden. Deathgasm 2. I'm very excited. Kickstarter is up. Check that out. Let me go grab the Kickstarter. So it's on Kickstarter. I'll put the link in here in the chat. We'll put it's kickstarter.com/project/Deathgasm2/Goremageddon. So only in a couple days, it's already up to 40 grand. So that shows that people want to check it out. And Tazo is excited because he saw boobies. Boom. Here? Oh, you're just watching a movie. I see. He also was excited they played D&D. Now, he was probably more excited for that. I'm a big D&D guy, too. And it's the home of stunt woman Zoe Bell, New Zealand. A stunt work of Xena, warrior princess. Very cool. Let's see. All right. So, like I said, Saturday we will be showing Little Green People. I do actually have. No, I don't have the trailer. So, I'll post the trailer on the website at another time. Pretty soon I'm going to be announcing the selections for Severed Limbs, so go and do that. Go and send in your short film for Severed Limbs. Do it while you can. It'll be a good time. That will be on Kick this time as well. So go and subscribe on Kick and make a free login. That way you can interact with everyone in the chat. It's a good time that way, folks. It's a good time. All right, so up next here, I'm going to be playing my third interview of the evening with Tereza Nvotová of Nightsiren, which Slovakian filmmaker. She made this witch drama that's been playing a lot of festivals. It's won tons of awards, which is really cool. I've got a few awards here myself. Nothing like her, but a big thank you to these fine folks that I've won awards from. We've got, look at this. This is just me bragging. No, this is cool. We've got this bad boy, and this was from South Texas Underground Film Festival. Very nice. We've got this from Shawnee Film Festival in Massachusetts. We've got, this is a pretty amazing trophy here. This was from the Anti-Hero Genre Fest. That was in, I believe, in LA. It's very heavy, that one. I could beat Taz in the head with that one. This one's very delicate. This is a recent one from Genre Blast in Virginia. Very prestigious. This was the last award given that evening. Very fun. All right. So, yeah, and if anyone would like to send me anything to put up here, like free gifts, I'll accept them. But also, you know what you would, if you would like me to wear a shirt from your movie, your band, a hat from your movie, your band, your product, whatever it is, a button, you can send that over to Neil Jones, P.O. Box 415, Sandwich, Massachusetts, 02563. And I'll wear it on the show and give you guys a plug, whatever it is within reason. Something that I'm not going to kick off YouTube for. So no, whoopah whoopah whoopah, or fuck bomb or something like that. But something reasonable that I could wear without getting stricken on the YouTube and run out of town. Send it on over. A hat, a button, sunglasses, a shirt, size large, whatever it is that you can see on the show. So not like a cup, which would be cool, like a cod piece, but it'd be hard to show on the show. Although I am kind of all about that. That'd be pretty cool if I start wearing a cod piece, like at appearances, at festivals, conventions, the Nasty Neil cod piece. That would be pretty sweet. Stoked for Deathgasm 2! Had no idea. Yeah, I am too. I am very excited as well. That's right, Severed Penis. Maybe. Look, what do you think about this idea, Pepe Potit, and all the fine folks in the chat? What if one year we have severed limbs a few times a year? What if one year we might not have to find a new platform to do this one. We do the Severed Penis Festival, and it's all adult horror films. The Severed Penis. Maybe that could be an award, the Severed Penis. Get to work on it, troops. All right. All righty, folks. So we're going to get the next interview going. And that will be with Tereza Nvotová of Nightsiren. Then I'll come back and wrap up the show. But I'm going to be here. So, watching the interview, send in your chat, and we'll keep chatting here. And if you're watching live on Facebook or Twitter or whatever, come on over to the YouTube. It's a fun chat. We got Pepe Potit. We've got Dean Meme. We've got Towser the Greek. We've got Dave Deadman. And you got me and some other people are lurking in the shadows. Come on over. Every Thursday we're live. It's a fun time. Subscribe. Hit that little bell icon. You'll get notifications. And like us and leave some comments. But come and join during the live show. It does make for a fun experience in the chat. Hell yeah! See? They're all down for the Severed Penis Film Festival. All right. We're going to get to work on that one. But right now, we're going to get to Tereza Nvotová. And we're going to hear about Nightsiren and how you guys can check it out. Decapitation without your head. I'm Nasty Neil, and I'm joined by director Tereza Nvotová, director of Nightsiren.
Hello. Hi.
Hello. It's good to have you here.
Yeah, it's good to be there or here.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
You say that now, but if you get sick of me, you can hang up and later on.
Okay.
All right. You're not supposed to get it, but so for people not aware, can you give them an idea of what Nightsiren is?
Okay, so it is actually it's really hard to put it in a box because I wouldn't say it's a mystery drama. Someone says it's a folk horror, someone says a psychological horror. I've heard someone says a thriller. I've heard all kinds of stuff, but for me it's a movie with the creepy atmosphere, of course, and it's set in the Slovak mountains, in the village that is kind of cut off from civilization a little bit, but it's set in a present time, and it's about the witches in the present times.
I also like that you said you can't really put it in a box, because that's what I like about festival movies. Is it's a lot of stuff that it's not just one genre. And it's hard. And did that make it hard at all, actually, when you're submitting it to festivals?
I wouldn't say this is a problem in the festivals. It's usually an issue when you're trying to communicate with public for distribution, because, of course, every distributor wants to put it in a box because that's how they want to communicate with public. In festivals, people are kind of used to seeing weird movies or movies that are maybe different. So So yeah, so in festivals, it actually did quite well because it can, people like blending genres and fantastical elements, but also very grounded characters and drama. So this is all what my movie has. So festivals are actually a great platform for it.
And is Nightsiren is that the direct translation of your original title?
No, it's not. It's not because the title is like a made-up word, and it wouldn't really. It's like the literal translation is "light the night," which doesn't have much sense in English. So we were looking for something that would have maybe similar mood or similar, feeling to it as the title in Slovak.
True, because I did look up the original title to see if it was like an actual legend or anything, and I really couldn't find anything about it, so I was interested.
There is this like a mythical creature in our culture that is called Svetlo Nož, and it's like a thing that it's like a light that is luring you to these like swamps, and then it kills you there. So,
interesting. Yeah. That could kind of go into later on in the movie, out in the woods with some of the weird stuff going on.
Yeah, it is. But that's why we kind of a little bit changed that, because it's not about this creature. It's about this woman and this society. But yeah, we wanted to work something that is a little bit close to our cultural folk myths.
Yeah. So is there when did this story come about for you? Like when did you start writing this? Was there like an event or something that like inspired it?
It was there was some things that inspired it. One was the book. There was this anthropological book that Barbara Namerová, who is like co-scriptwriter of this, read, and it was a research in modern Slovak villages where she found out that people still believe in witches till today, and it's people like us, like it was pretty surprising because I'm coming from the city, and it's like, I know Slovakia is not very well known in America, but it looks like here, it's not very different, but yeah. The mental space might be a little bit different. So this surprised us. And then another inspiration came from our cottage in the woods that our fathers bought when they were young. And it's this like 100-year-old cabin with no electricity and no running water. And when I was trying to find out who was living there before, actually living there, not just going there for holidays as we did, I found out there was this woman, Otila, who was walking barefoot and everybody was scared of her. And she was kind of living there with these bears and wolves and snakes. And so we kind of were inspired by that character and created this whole story. But third, I would say like big inspiration was also just living a woman life in the society where we are. And we kind of brought also a lot of personal stuff into our story.
Well, there's a lot of interesting things there. The last part you said about, living your life, a woman in regular the world, because the movie does feel like, it's like these real backwards people, but at the same time, it's a lot of things that I think a lot of people could, could feel empathy for your character for that happens in modern days. So it's not so much that these people are backwards, which they are, but there's a lot of stuff that still happens, for everyone.
Yeah, everywhere, like everywhere in the world, I would say, because, you might say, okay, superstition and belief in witches is something that is not here anymore, but we have conspiracies. People believe in all kinds of crazy stuff, like somebody's sucking blood of children and being dinosaurs. I don't know. Every time I hear all these conspiracies, it's kind of crazy, but it's not very far from witch beliefs. So we are just changing the language, but it's the thing is the same, basically.
Yeah, especially the last several years, like on social media, and even there's a real rise in kind of like the satanic panic. People believe in Moloch, and like you said, that people that like Tom Hanks like eats babies and all these. And it's if you would have told me that years ago, I'd think, oh, no one's gonna believe that, but. And it's people that I wouldn't think are, in my mind, it would be someone who lives like in the backwoods, like in the movie. But it's, people that are on, Facebook and stuff who are using the
Exactly. So it's not like technologies brought to humanity some like great wisdom, although we have all these encyclopedias in our pockets, but still we are looking for simple answers, I would say. And there is, of course, a lot more fear because everything is super complicated. And with technologies, we can see that it's even more complicated than we thought. And everything that we don't know kind of caused this fear in us, I would say. And we don't like it because we don't know it. And I think this is what creates this hatred that can, go to violence. And this is what I was trying to talk about in my movie too.
Even there's a later scene in your movie where one of the characters uses a cell phone. And it kind of is almost jarring because at that point, you're almost feeling like this is another time period. And then they have a cell phone. I was like, oh, yeah, this is like modern day.
Yeah. I like it because,
it
this
works
is
in the movie.
Yeah, it works. And I just wanted to put it in a present time because I didn't want to make it look or feel like I'm commenting on something that is historical. This is not historical. This is still, we are still dealing with ancient problems in this society today. And this is what I was trying to point out, that, we are not moving much further and, we have to do something to move. And I think all of my characters are scared of different things, but also trying to find the way, like the main characters are trying to find a way out of this situation. And I think they find it in connection, in their relationship, and also, I would say, in nature, because that's not as dangerous as we would think.
Yeah, the people are honestly, the animals that I think about it, the snakes, the wolves, like, I don't think they really do anything to not to spoil your movie, but, it's the people that are the danger.
Yeah, this is why I also worked with genre, because there are all these like horror tropes where we are so used to that witches are bad and evil, and when you have like wolves or snakes, they're also like connected with some evil, I don't know, whatever power. And I just wanted to flip these narratives. I just wanted to show like, oh, it doesn't have to be this way. It's maybe witches are just women who are maybe a little different than the majority of society who wants to live in a different life. And animals are just animals, So it's like, what is horrific is what is in us, actually. Yeah.
I'm glad you said that, because I always have a problem with movies where the witches actually are real and evil, because I think that the witch trials, the witch hunts, like I'm in Massachusetts, so not very far from Salem. And so the horror of that is that, the people that hunted down the witches. So if you have a movie where the witches really are evil, you're kind of saying that like the people who hunted witches were right.
Yes, exactly. And you can see this narrative even in great movies like The Witch.
I agree, yeah.
So it's like you rarely, I don't even know any movie that they have witches that are not these evil personas. So yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to say anything bad. Obviously, witch looks great and everything, but that's always been my issue with it. I was like, well, you're kind of saying that the Puritans were right in the movie.
Yeah, and women has these evil powers,
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So where were you familiar with the area you shot in? Because it looks great, and like finding the perfect cliff to film that scene.
Yeah, the cliff. It's actually it's funny with that cliff because it used to have a railing because it's very dangerous there. You can fall and really die.
Yeah.
And they were shooting some Hollywood movie there, and they put away the railing, and they never
put it back.
Yeah.
They're like, who cares about? We're out of here now.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of dangerous. So yeah, this is in Slovakia. We have beautiful mountains, and the specific area where we shot the majority of the movie that's very close to the cabin I told you about. And the village is the village I know since my childhood. So like also a lot of villagers were playing in the movie, and yeah, it's a place that I'm very familiar with, and also that's why I wanted this forest that has these like mystic powers, or it feels like it. That's why I was looking for pine trees, for a higher mountains, not something that could be dangerous, or something that, is more like darker green, and where you actually have these animals. Because, even when we were shooting, we always came across some footprints of bears and wolves and stuff like that. So it's, and we even shot with like sheep. We had like, I don't know, 100 sheep there on the shoot. And 2 weeks later, we heard from those people that they were killed, like 60 of sheep were killed by wolves. So it's pretty harsh environment, and the shooting was also harsh. But I don't know, I just wanted to also bring to the audience this feeling like, let's go to the forest, let's go to more natural environment, and let's just get offline sometimes. I think, you don't want to say it because you don't want to preach to people, but if they see a movie where they feel like they are there, then maybe they will go, and maybe they will, I don't know, connect with themselves a little better than through social media and everything.
Yeah. And so I saw the screener on my laptop here, but I imagine seeing the landscapes on the big screen looks amazing.
Yes. That's why I was happy. It went around the world on festivals, and even now it's on big screens in New York and LA. I'm always happy when people see it actually big, because it's like when you see it small, especially during the day, and there's a lot of night scenes, you cannot have the same experience.
Yeah, and you can't when you're in the theater, you can't escape. So I guess you could get on your phone, but you'd be kind of an ass to do that. But in the theater, it's there in front of you, it's big, you can't escape, and the sound's all around you. It works.
Yes, exactly.
So what was that like to watch your movie for the first time with an audience, your first festival?
Very nervous, because I didn't really quite know whether people will understand it, because it's from our small country, small village. It deals with all these weird traditions we have. And so I was not quite sure whether people will get it, what I'm trying to say there. But they did, and we even won this award in Locarno Film Festival. So it was pretty great. And I was meeting people on the street there, and they were like telling me like, oh, I'm going to see it again. So yeah. So it was really nice, and I went then to quite a few festivals. It's always great to meet people. So yeah, but at the same time, I should say, like, when you have your premiere, you already saw your movie so many times that you're super sick of it. You don't want to ever see it again, and you cannot even watch it as an audience, because this is what you're trying to do the whole time when you're editing. Like, okay, trying to figure out like, I never saw this scene, I'm going to put myself in that emotional space, which is hard when you know it like a poem in your head, So now when I'm on the festival or any screening, I just say hello in the beginning, and I'm waiting until it ends.
I understand. Yeah. I have to mention the cast is amazing. The film. I wanted to say especially the duo, because everyone's good in the movie. But had you worked with the two main actresses before?
No, never. Actually, this was the first movie for Eva, the actress that played Mira.
Yeah.
So it was her first in front of camera experience, and no, she was great. And no, I haven't worked with them before. But it was a long casting process. I always try to make sure all the relationship and all this combination works together. I don't like to cast based on self-tapes or something that, I actually need to, be there with people and see if I can work with them, if we are on the same page. And I never have like a image in my head how the character should look, but I have some emotional image, like what is their emotional landscape, and if they can get there. And with Natalia and Eva, it was great. They could get there, and then for me, it was mostly about whether they can have this relationship, this chemistry that is super important, because even if they are two women, you know, you're basically casting like as if you're casting a romantic movie with a main couple. It still needs to work. So yeah, it was good that they knew each other because they were studying together. So
yeah, because we've all seen movies with even two great actors. If they don't have chemistry, it doesn't work. It's not always just, the initial talent.
Yeah.
And I assume they got to see the movie with audiences at festivals too?
Oh, yeah, they were there with me in the first festival in Locarno. So it was quite a great experience to be with them. And now, Natalia is in New York. So we had like a New York premiere, and she was there with me. So yeah. So sometimes, I would send them to festival that I cannot go to or something. So it's great when the movie is still alive even year after the premiere, so it doesn't like die and go away.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. It's a couple of things I want to bring up. I know. Do you still have 20 minutes? Should I wrap this up or?
No, I have another interview at 4:30. So yes.
All right. Okay. Cool. I don't want to keep you longer. I'll edit this part.
No, actually 4 p.m.
All right, I'll wrap it up here in a minute. I just want to ask a couple of things here.
Okay, no, that's fine. I'm sorry.
Right.
Yeah.
That's okay. So what's it like on set when you're filming violent scenes against women?
Well, it's hard for everyone because it's not like camera sees everything, so you cannot cheat so much. Of course, you're cheating as much as you can, and you don't want to hurt anyone, and you're not beating anyone, and that's why you have all these like I don't know how it's called, like a fight coordinators who like they help with what the moves are so nobody hurts anyone, but it looks like that, or they even help with like maybe this angle of the camera could work so when they are doing this movement. So this is like very practical and technical, but in terms of the of the shooting itself, like for example the scene we have in Nightsiren that's like I would say most harsh, it was a long shoot during the night because you have a lot of characters and just one camera, so you have to capture everyone. And it's mostly about like keeping the spirit there, like so the people are not just like, okay, I don't want to be here anymore. Nobody wants to do this stuff, it's not very pleasant, but everybody understands why we have to do it, why is it important for the movie, and that's how we can get to great performances.
Yeah, I thought it was really powerful that you show that the children are watching the dad, because I think in your head you like that's gonna be like the cycle, because they're probably gonna grow up like him because they see that's just how things are supposed to be.
Yes.
And again, that's something I think anyone could relate to. It wouldn't have to be, live in Slovakia or in a village or anything.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is universal. I think we are all humans in whatever culture we are coming from, and we are dealing with same problems more or less in different parts of the world. And violence is a huge problem everywhere. Violence against the vulnerable, which is women and children, is something that is more or less common. And I think there is not yet enough films talking about it. And especially, I think we need more films that are going to be from perspectives that are maybe not only male, like I think it's a different thing, because I know for me, they say like I have harsh film scenes in my movie. Like my first movie was about rape, and I also wanted to show a lot. I wanted the audience to be there with the victim, and this is something, it might look like I don't know, that I'm just trying to squeeze the audience or the scene, but what I'm trying to do is put the audience in a place where this is not pleasant even for them, because we're so used to violence on screen. Like in all the action movies and everything.
Yeah, I just saw
But
the Expendables, and it's meaningless violence at that point.
Yeah. So we're like kind of dumped down. And then, when we see violence in a movie that is supposed to say something else, we're just like, yeah, violence, But then when you kind of give more time to it or put the audience in a place where it is, it is awkward or it is something that is not pleasant, that's the moment when they start to be like, what is happening? I don't feel good. And then they might start to think about it differently.
Well, I really enjoyed talking with you. I really liked Nightsiren, and I hope people check it out. I know you just played in New York. I think it's out on Blu-ray in UK. And do you know where it'll go from here?
Yeah, it's in New York and LA, and it will be on VOD, I think, from October 24th. That's so far I know, but look at the social media or elsewhere. There's going to be more information.
All right, very cool. And I would like to check out your previous movie. I've not seen it.
It's called Filthy. And in America, I think it's on this new platform called Gallery.
Okay, cool. I will check that out. All right. Well, I appreciate you doing
this. Yeah. Thank you very much. Bye.
Hey, I'm back. There I am. Hey, now. Don't be interrupting myself with myself. All right. That was very cool. Sorry I forgot to edit that part out. I'm not perfect, but I'll post that interview by itself as well. And I will make sure to edit that out, because if not, Dean Machine, he's gonna make fun of me. All right. That's my birthday. Hell yeah. Very cool. Coming up is, I shouldn't say. One person's birthday, I shouldn't say, because I don't think she wants people to know. But it is coming up on my mom's birthday. So if you would like to send my mom, the mother of Nasty Neil and Terrible Troy, a birthday card, or send her a Halloween card, send it to Brenda Jones, P.O. Box 415, Sandwich, Mass. 02563, or send it to me and I'll make sure she gets it. Same address. And maybe I'll try. I've been trying to get her on the show for years. I think it would be fun. Wouldn't you guys be interested to see and hear the mother of the nasty one and the terrible one and see who made us? I mean, we turned out pretty good, right? She's a big horror fan, so I just thought it'd be fun to get her on and do a 13 favorite horror movies, 13 favorite killers in horror movies. Not just, well, she does like killers. I meant like she's into true crime. Right. All right. So that's been a fun time. Next week, next week's gonna be a loaded show. I've got a lot of interviews coming up. So what you do, folks, is you subscribe right here on the YouTube. Go and join the Facebook group. There's also something that I should update more often. If you go to the website withoutyourhead.com, which is updated often, you can get a list of everything's going on, reviews, interviews, trailers, all that stuff. And you can also, from there, there's a link to join the newsletter. So if you're not necessarily a big social media guy and you like to keep up, join the newsletter and you will get emails. I don't send them out very often, but I should try to do it every week. I was thinking maybe I'll put some fun stuff in there. Maybe some type of contest to give out prizes. Maybe a discount code for merch. Figured out. Oh, by the way, merch. Go over right now to the TeePublic page. Let me go grab this. Because for the next 3 days, all the t-shirts are $16. Yeah, that's a really sweet deal. So it's teepublic.com/user/withoutyourhead. And you can get all the Without Your Head shirts. You can get the 8-bit Slasher Man pixel art shirts. You get the Severed Limb shirts. You can get shirts with Troy, Terrible Troy's artwork on them. You get all that good stuff, and they're only $16. Lexar wants to know, am I too late? Is that Lexar? Someone wants to know, am I too late? For what? To jump on for the show? I mean, we're still going, but you can subscribe here to YouTube, and then you can go and listen to all the stuff that you missed. Aaron Broyles, am I too late? We just finished the 3 interviews, so you did miss all the interviews. But, like I said, they're going to be here till the end of time until they kick me off YouTube. But even that, I get them up on Spotify. I try to post them everywhere. You can listen to audio or see visual content. I try to even post them up on the Instagram. I post some stuff on TikTok. So basically, anything that you follow, look for Without Your Head, follow it, subscribe. It'll be a good time. All right, I'm going to head out of here. Next week, Annabelle will be returning to the show. We're probably going to do, for the live show, we're going to do Countdown to Brooklyn Horror Fest. And we're going to try to get on some folks from the Brooklyn Horror Fest. So, some filmmakers. And then when we're at Brooklyn, we are going to be doing some live streaming from Brooklyn. So hopefully we're going to get some cool filmmakers, maybe some people who run the festival, or even just people watching the movies, and ourselves talking about the movies we're seeing, what's going on, and that'll be a fun time. So that'll be, we're going to be going there Friday the 13th. We'll be there Friday the 13th, Saturday the 14th, and Sunday the 15th. So subscribe here, and we'll go live at various times from Brooklyn. And it'll be good. It'll be fun. Hopefully we're going to get some people to jump on with us, talk to us. Larry Fessenden's going to be there. There's a lot of cool independent horror folks and some established names. It'll be a good time. Pepe Potit, have a good evening, everyone. Well, thank you, Pepe. I want to thank everyone who joined us during the show. It's been very fun. It's the chat room makes it a lot more entertaining. I love doing the live shows. I love the community aspect of Without Your Head and In Your Head. So if you're into wrestling, go and join the sister program, IYH Wrestling, also on YouTube and also on Facebook and all the same places. Just go follow it. Night Pepe, fun show. Night all. Thank you, Dave Deadman. So hope to see you guys next week. There'll be some other interviews popping up, so keep an eye open for them. And all kinds of stuff coming up. Don't forget, this Saturday will be the return of Saturday Night Fright. So we're going to have some fun old trailers, and then we're going to have the feature film Little Green People, and then a live video Q&A with the filmmakers. That'll be Saturday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on the Kick page. So come in and do that. If you have an independent horror short or an independent trailer, send that over to the film Freeway for Severed Limbs, and you could get your film or short. Get your short film or your trailer in the festival that's coming out, which will also be on Kick. We love you, Neil. Well, thank you. Who's telling me that they love me? Who is my secret admirer that they love me? Aaron Broyles. Well, Aaron, we love you too, young man. Thank you. All right. We're getting out of here. Thanks again, everybody. Thanks to Poltergeist OD, Music of the Month. If you have a band suggestion out there, and it's cool if you suggest, hey, play Alice Cooper. Yeah, that'd be great. But the thing is, it's got to be someone who's going to be cool with letting us play their tunes. So think more of an independent artist that you know personally, you have some kind of connection to, and tell them, hey, it would be cool if you had your music playing on Without Your Head. It plays in between interviews. It plays at the end of the show. They talk about it on the live show, on the podcast, on the website. It's win-win. New people get to hear your tunes. We get to play cool tunes. So let your music friends know. Or maybe some of you guys listening right now would be interested in that. And just hit me up at withoutyourhead@gmail.com. Because we need a music of the month for October. It's a perfect time. Someone horror related out there. If you want to be music of the month, Get in. We're looking for somebody, and there's not much time left. All right. I got to shut up and get out of here. Thank you to all the guests. Go and check out all their stuff. Watch your movies. Subscribe. Everything that I just said. All right. Good night, folks.
Josh, I hate to break this to you, but you're dead, you know? You can't smoke.
You can light him up and blow the smoke in my face!
I'm the worst kind of person. I've been cursed as poltergeist despite the word frightener. Flirting with death because I couldn't wait to reunite with her. Trying to get my numbers up, so I've been two-timing her. Y'all can see there's more to tell. I can feel the scorch of hell. Stock weather can suck my dick, cause I got me a score 12. Got me creeping through the halls, see me seeping through the walls. They don't even believe in me, let's play a game of true or false. True that I'm the villain and I'ma make a killing, but what do they say? That ain't no way to make a living. Don't be a victim, shit, what are you, chicken? If this ain't entertaining, then I'm rearranging the kitchen. I couldn't stop it if I wanted, I gotta finish what I started. I guess there were too many skeletons in my closet, I don't stop until the screaming starts. I call it bleeding art, you don't need to see this part. Sorry pops, I'ma need your heart. Should've exercised, call a fucking exorcist. Necromancer, perfectionist with an endless list of fresh additions. Rest in piss, a dismemberment, or end this shit.
Final farewell, you'll die as well. And you thought guys like me fried in hell. They said she was an accessory after the fact, but it was cold-blooded murder. Final farewell, you'll die as well. And you thought guys like me fried in hell. They said she was an accessory after the fact, but it was cold-blooded murder.
And roll the shadow of death, me head to the blood stain on your carpet. Who do you imagine will go next in the house of a madman like Bartlett Ho? No talking to the feds or get this shotgun to the head. Leave your ass like Miss Bradley all fucked up in the bed. And between that Frank and that Dammers, they gon' need an examiner. Cause one flew over the cuckoo's nest and one flew over the banister. And I'm watching them go to pieces. Am I a psycho, a genius? It's just a case of spontaneous recurrent psychokinesis. Looking like it's a whodunit, even though I'm published, I've risen above it. And this say the wicked will be punished. Before we get a whole lot of holy water to bore me, everybody gonna know my story. Got me a score of 40. Street to street, people flee from the entity. All my enemies gun down on their knees, but they don't even budge. Slay them just for fun, but they can hold a grudge. I say save it for the judge. You're comfortably numb like bed rest. Please remove your headdress. Looking in the mirror like, aren't you dead yet? I don't give a motherfuck. See you when your number's up. They saying no fear to reap, but well, I'm here to shut them up.
Final farewell, you'll die as well. And you thought guys like me fried in hell. They said she was an accessory after the fact, but it was cold-blooded murder. Final farewell, you'll die as well. And you thought guys like me fried in hell. They said she was an accessory after the fact, but it was cold-blooded murder. Final farewell, you'll die as well. And you thought guys like me fried in hell. They said she was an accessory after the fact, but it was cold-blooded murder. Final farewell, you'll die as well. And you thought guys like me fried in hell. They said she was an accessory after the fact, but it was cold-blooded murder.